And the one that came up lately was about this podcast that he did on back pain. It was a solo podcast. And it kept coming up, and I'm like, okay, so we should probably listen to this and visit. I don't listen to all of his stuff. I'll listen to a few things. Listen to it. And I got to agree with some of the people that had that took some shots at this particular podcast that he may have conflated and confused things a little bit for maybe his audience, the general listener. But it takes it goes a couple of steps deeper to those that do work with or treat people with back pain on a regular basis. And now they're basically going to have to untangle the sticky web that I would say Andrew Huberman laid down for that practitioner's client who listens, who is an avid Huberman fan or whatever, for all the good things that he puts out there, is now going to walk into their, and they are, and this is what's creating this, walking into their next PT appointment or training
Andrew
appointment.
Huberman said that this is the way I'm supposed to do it.
Why are we doing this? I should be
Why
doing
are we
that.
doing this? You are the, in the court of social opinion, if that's what you want to say, the arena of social opinion. He has been labeled an expert by many, and he's earned that, I think, in a way. Again, that presents some problems, I think, if you're not clear about the information that you're delivering, or you maybe take some liberties. And I'm just going to say, I think maybe he did that a little bit in this particular podcast. So again, it was about, to set the groundwork here, it was about back pain. And you guys listened to it, and so you guys heard it, so I want to talk about it. But he was delivering the information to the masses. And while we know back pain affects, a minimum of 1 in 5 people in the United States, it's one of the major drivers of pharmaceutical drug sales or pharmaceutical sales in the United States. It is the number one cause outside of depression that people miss work. I mean, this is a massive topic.
Oh, yeah.
So I think when you handle a topic like that from the position that he's handling that particular topic from, I think you got to be careful, and I don't think he did a really good job in the care in which he delivered the message. And it's created some issues. Even here, we're hearing things, from our clients. That's how wide-reaching this is, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. So that's my lead-in, kind of blabbing on there, but that's my leading to this thing. So. What's your take?
I don't know. I think there's kind of two different, directions to go with this. And I think one of the big issues initially, why I think a lot of clinicians or therapists, practitioners have an issue with it is someone, even, he's a smart guy. He can research, he can, talk to other smart people and regurgitate information in a way that a lot of people identify with and like. But at the end of the day, he's speaking about a experience and treatment and history that he does not have. That's not his field. He's speaking out of turn. He's speaking out of his... Go ahead.
Yeah, he's talking about his experience. A lot he's drawing from his own experience. But yeah, I mean, that is not what he does on a day-to-day basis. No. That's not who he deals with on a day-to-day basis as far as individuals with back pain. So, while I think there are parts of that podcast that were really good as far as the information. However, I think it was very limiting in that the information was very fundamental, and it was very, I guess more, if you lived in a vacuum, then maybe some of these exercises would be good, or depending on the severity of the pain and lack of mobility and movement that you have, then maybe this would be a good place to start. But, back pain is so individualized, and there are so many, I guess there's so much nuance to each individual's case that to take what was said and try to apply it to everybody, that's not how people work, and that's not how the world works. So that was my challenge with the information. And it doesn't go into how you would address it beyond what he was talking about. So, we move in a nonlinear fashion a lot of the time, laterally bending, rotating, seated and rotating, single leg standing and bending and those types of things. And, the things that he was talking about as far as exercises, it's very, what's the word I was looking for?
Rudimentary.
Rudiment. Yeah, but static-ish.
Okay.
You know?
You said, like in a vacuum, the way you described it was is like if things happen in a vacuum, okay, all of this might be really great. But the fact of the matter
neutral
is...
spine. That's the word I'm looking for. He was talking about exercises being in a neutral spine, and that's not how we always function.
Yeah, but that is one way to do it, but there's many ways to do it is the point. And he was delivering this as like, this is the way. That's, at least that was my impression of the way we were taking it.
I think, it's not staying in his lane, but a lot of that is... It's the challenge, and where we even with previous podcasts, when we dive into a topic of not wanting to give very specific answers to problems, because there is so much variability, there is so much, it depends. So I can tell you even, into that podcast, he went into a lot of these 3 main exercises, which a lot of people have heard of as a treatment protocol for back pain. It's all around, and people talk about it outside of Andrew Huberman, about the originator from it. And these exercises, I can tell you, I've done them with people in the past, 8 years ago, and some people, these exercises did not work for them.
Right, they respond well, and
some people do, some people don't. So when you give these very black and white answers of people, trying to assume that someone can assess their own back pain and injury, and then how that they can actually have the awareness to execute these protocols, I think that's where it's a slippery slope. I think that he gives this very specific answer versus really speaking to the generalities and speaking to the variabilities and things like that.